All right, ladies and gentlemen, live from S3C Paris. I'm very pleased to welcome here Saul Salinas. You are in charge of the smart city practices within Accenture. So introduce yourself. What are you doing every day within this huge organization?
Wow. You mean other than being on airplanes and flying from one place to the other? I oversee the work that we do with smart cities all over the world. So we do a lot of work with Chicago. We're beginning to do some work with New York, beginning to do some work with Washington, D.C., very active in cities like Dubai, Singapore, etc.
Within the explosion of smart city, it has to be a tough job. So return on experience, which city for you symbolizes the best this huge development of smart city all around the world?
Oh, that's easy, no? Dubai, because of their aspirations, in Singapore.
Dubai and Singapore, for you,
and
the
Dubai,
top
absolutely.
two.
Now I have to say Chicago, of course, because they're a very strong client. but yes,
it's
those three for sure.
Okay, so as a practical example, which kind of application usage illustrate the best this huge movement
so
all
I
around
think
the
the
world?
thing that differentiates, in my opinion, a city that's really has the right approach is a city that's looking at it holistically, not necessarily piece by piece by piece, but looking at the entire picture of the city. So the city of Chicago is doing that, which is, I mentioned Singapore. Singapore is doing that. Dubai certainly is doing that. So they recognize the value, not just of specific projects, of course they're valuable, but they recognize the value of the entire city working in unison to sort of bring the smartness, the happiness forward.
It's urbanism, but not only without the city, but also with the information systems and the can we talk about urbanism of intelligence of things? Is that the right concept?
Yeah, yes.
For the right city?
So I sense that there's a change in taking place. And that change is that historically we've thought about cities, smart cities, in the language of just technology. So devices, nodes, networks, bytes, kilobytes, terabytes.
Yeah.
I think now we're beginning to talk about the citizen. What does the citizen really need? What are the outcomes that are required to meet those needs? And the technology is just a means to an end. I think that's a valuable sort of shift and evolution in the way that we think about cities.
All right. You talked to us about the first of the class, the top of the class, but now could you just, in about 1 minute, provide us practical advices for not the bad students, but for the newcomers, the city that wants to start an intelligent, smart practice to launch a smart project?
It's very simple. I would look at the examples. You know, I would look at cities that are doing it and look at the things. First, I would reach out, get smart about, sorry about the pun, but get smart about sort of what the needs of the city are. And start, if it's a small budget, start small, of course, but recognize that every single initiative is connected to something else. No? So have a quick win.
Interoperability has to be the key point.
Interoperability, the interdependence of the different projects. You know, we use the term in consulting called use cases, right? It's not just one use case, it's multiple use cases. So start with a couple, 3, but recognize that's not the end of the journey. But most importantly is listen, hear, reach out to those who live in the city, who work in the city, who visit the city as to what they need. Example, in Washington, D.C., where I live, a study just came out that ranked Washington, D.C. the single worst city in North America for traffic.
Yes.
So maybe traffic is an issue for people who live and visit Washington, maybe, right?
That's a good example.
We're starting to do some work for the Department of Transportation in Washington, and guess where we're doing it? In transportation.
That's right. It's quite obvious, but it's
the obvious, huh?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for this this practical advice. Last questions. Does Accenture provide practical advice, use case, solution for cities, and how to get this information?
Absolutely, we have it. You can reach out to me. Anybody who listens to this interview can reach out to me at Accenture, Solomon S. Salinas at Accenture.com. We have stories to tell from around the world on smart cities.
So if you're mayor, if you are CIO, if you have a project, you know who's to contact right now. Thank you very much, Saul. Please come back anytime on this stage. You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Come back anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.